This boy is actually a sea monster from another world from the depths of the ocean. He dreams of exploring the world outside of the ocean. But his mom doesn't let him do so. She's like, "Stay away from those humans, they'll just put you in a can of tuna." Mama knows best. This is called typical Asian parents, always overprotective, like you're made of glass or something. Hey, welcome to Recap. Today, we're gonna dive into the movie Luca. It's about a sea creature who comes out of the ocean and has to avoid humans. The story takes place in Italy, where the fishermen have been hunting these sea creatures for generations. But our boy Luca, he dreams of exploring the world outside of the ocean. But his mama ain't having none of that. She's like, "Stay away from those humans, they'll just put you in a can of tuna." Mama knows best, right? One day, while he's out herding fish, he meets another sea creature named Alberto, who pretends to know all about the human world. And guess what? He can turn into a human too. He also lives in an abandoned tower on dry land. Luca is mind blown when he sees Alberto transform and live on the land like a human. I mean, who knew sea creatures could also be shapeshifters? I'm starting to think my goldfish might have some secrets, so Luca spends the night thinking about it, and he decides to go to Alberto's place again. But the little Luca is kind of scared to get out of the water, and here comes Alberto, Mr. Know-It-All. He encourages Luca to explore the land. He teaches Luca how to walk, saying it's all safe and easy peasy. Finally, Luca is able to walk like a human. Then Alberto shows his place and all the objects he collected from the human world. But nothing excites Luca more than a Vespa pamphlet. They decide to build their own Vespa with the garbage Alberto has collected. What a great way to recycle. Luca spends the whole day at Alberto's place building Vespa, and he's late to go back home. Luca's mom gets mad at him. His mother starts a fight, asking where he's been, but thank God for his grandmother, who saved him by saying he went to get some sea cucumbers for her. The boys spend more and more time trying to improve their scooter with lots and lots of failures, and finally, they decide to test it out by going down the hill together, with a turtle as their ramp support. It is kind of a success, but it's not a real Vespa. Luca's parents find out about his sneaky adventures and decides to send him to live in the deep with his uncle Ugo. So Luca runs away with Alberto to hide out in Portorosso, a town where humans live where his parents won't come. There, they can also get a real Vespa. It's like watching two Asian aunties go to an all-you-can-eat buffet for the first time, just pure excitement. But they have to be careful not to get wet. If not, they will turn into monsters instantly. There, they meet Arcoli. He is the local bully. He has won the town's annual Portorosso Cup 5 times in a row and constantly flaunts himself by loudly riding his Vespa through the town. He's like a giant human pufferfish, except way more annoying. A group of children throw the ball near Luca and ask him to kick it back, but while trying to do that, Luca, who has never played football, ends up kicking and hitting the scooter of Arcoli. He gets mad and tries to soak Luca in a fountain, and that's when they meet Giulia, a young girl who wants to win the game and beats Arcoli. The boys team up with Giulia to win the game and buy a Vespa. Giulia takes the boys to her father to ask for the game entry fee. But things aren't easy for the boys. Giulia's dad is a fisherman who is against sea monsters. He doesn't have money for her daughter's game entry fee. Giulia and her dad provides food and shelter for the boys since they know them as runaways. In return, they help her father to get more fish to sell so that they can get money faster for entering the game. Since the boys know really well about fish, her father gets lots of fish following their advice while fishing. Then they get enough money to enter the game and go register for the game. They become closer with her while she trains them for the game. But then Alberto gets jealous when Luca and Giulia bond over their love of learning, because he is so scared that Giulia would steal his own friend Luca. Luca wants to go to the same school Giulia goes, so Alberto intentionally reveals his sea monster form to Giulia to prevent Luca from attending school. But Luca pretends to know nothing and screams for help and treats him like a monster. Alberto feels betrayed and sad and heads to the ocean alone. After getting home, Luca is shaking like a plate of jelly, thinking about the game without Alberto. To calm him down, Giulia tosses water at him. Now he's a wet jelly, but wait, surprise! Giulia discovers he's also a sea monster. With his dreams shattered, Luca decides to swim back to the island to find Alberto in the tower. Alberto is deeply sad. Luca finds out some marks on the wall and asks Alberto about them. Turns out, they're the count of days since his father left, meaning Alberto has been alone on that island for years, but he pretended like he has the coolest dad who is just traveling just for a while and lets him do anything he wants, unlike Luca's parents. But the truth is, he's an abandoned kid. What a poor Alberto. That's why he couldn't handle his jealousy, fearing that Luca would leave him alone like his dad. Luca feels so sorry for him. Luca cheers up Alberto, and he says he will get the Vespa for both of them to explore the world together. The next day, Luca goes back to town and gets in the game. First challenge is swimming. He races in a diving suit not to get wet, but he looks like a lost astronaut trying to find his way back to Earth, but it turns out the pressure was too much for the glass and it broke. What a disaster! Water starts leaking through the crack, and Luca turns to sea monster form. When he comes out of the water, he tries to hide his face, but Ercole is a jerk and sticks his foot in front of him. Luca trips and falls. Fortunately, he manages to hide his face like a shy turtle. The next challenge is to eat pasta. Giulia is already eating pasta, but Luca never used fork before. Luckily, Giulia helps him by showing how to use fork. Meanwhile, the boy from Ercole's team arrives last, so the other boy from Ercole's team takes his place. But then, Giulia finishes eating and rushes to her bike. Ercole cheats by taking a handful of pasta and shoving it into the poor boy's mouth. Finally, Luca finishes and moves on to the cycling part, the one he trained hard for. Now he's the last one in the race. Even though he's using a super old bike, he manages to zoom past everyone, including Giulia and Ercole. Luca finally reached the top, but then it starts raining. What a drama, and he had to hide under a cover. So disappointing. Suddenly, Alberto comes to the rescue with an umbrella. But Ercole ruins it all by kicking Alberto and exposing his true identity. Oh no, everybody now sees that he's a sea monster. Ercole, being a typical villain, decides to throw a net at him to capture him and collect a reward. What a jerk, but our hero Luca, being a brave sea monster, saves Alberto from being captured and exposes his true identity too. As they were biking down the mountain, Ercole and Giulia starts chasing them, and Ercole tries to hit them with his harpoon. Knowing they're in grave danger, Giulia sacrifices herself to stop Ercole and falls on the ground. Even though the boys can jump into the ocean and escape, they don't run away. They goes back to help her. What a brave thing to do. Giulia's father is after them with a harpoon, and people from the entire town are surrounding them, including Ercole. But hold on a minute, folks. Giulia's father realizes that the boys are Luca and Alberto, who are his daughter's friends, and he sees that they are trying to help his daughter and decides to defend them. Wow. Talk about a plot twist. Ercole, on the other hand, is still being a party pooper, saying that the boys are not even human. But the judge declares them as the winners because technically they crossed the finish line first. But wait, he still wants to capture them for the reward. Oh, Ercole, when will you learn? Thankfully, Giulia's father is beside the boys, and all the hunters decide to back off. And Luca's parents finally meet him again after so long and see him being rewarded by humans, and they are so proud of their son. The prize money is not a lot, so they buy old, beat-up scooter, but they are just so happy with it. Now humans and sea monsters live together in harmony. Heartwarming, but holidays ending, Giulia must go back to Geneva for school. The boys go to say bye-bye to her, and after Giulia get on train, Alberto reveals he sold Scooter to buy ticket to Geneva for Luca, since he knows that Luca wants to attend school. What a good friend. Then Luca's parents arrive and say him to take care of himself. Luca is so happy knowing that he can go to school now, but Luca doesn't want to go without Alberto. So he calls Alberto to come with him, but Alberto wants to stay and helps Giulia's father. Very emotional farewell at the train station. Then Luca leaves for Geneva with tears knowing that he can't be together with Alberto. But at the same time, he is so excited to fulfill his dream of going to school. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps. See you next time.